Welcome back to Let's Play Capo 2. Again, it's come to the point where I end up recording on the day of uploading, because just could never get around to recording before then. But anyways, I imagine, what day is it here? It's 20th, I think. Not while I'm recording, actually it is almost. 17th. Wait, this takes place in December, right? Yeah. So, it's only a few days ahead of how it is in real life, then. The day's not over yet, though. Anzu walked up to us as I was talking with Akane. I don't know yet. However, I didn't bring a lunch with me, so I was either going to go to the cafeteria or buy something at the store. Why are you deciding? I didn't say that. Okay. I heard Amikaze's voice, so I looked in her direction and saw Amikaze and Yume saving seats. Yume. Amikaze smiled victoriously. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. I head to the ticket machine with Anzu and Akane. Let's see. What should I eat today? Oh, the biggest question we have had here. What should you eat? But we don't get to choose. I put a 1,000 yen bill into the machine and tried to decide what to get while looking at the menu buttons. You know, imagine if they did give you a choice for that. It's like, what purpose does it serve? It's like, whether you get a different bit of dialogue. It's like, yeah, but other than that, what purpose would it serve to pick your food, like, differently? Well, I can't decide. Can you imagine going up to the counter, just like, I'll have whatever. What? Yeah, just whatever. What do you want? Whatever. Just decide! No, but I thought it's kind of fun to think about. Before I could finish, Anzu pressed the button. Ah! Anzu pressed a button that said Chef's Choice. Nobody knew what that order entailed, and it was considered a mysterious and dangerous option. The price was 700 yen, which was unusually expensive compared to the other lunches. It was something that only a curious student would order, and that was about once a month. What are you doing? But why did you decide? I realized that there was no use arguing, so I reluctantly took the ticket and the change. Yume and Amikaze tilted their heads. It's the Chef's Choice, gelatin combo. Whatever, on my tray there was a plastic container with a gelatin-like substance in it. I could see chunks of unknown food in the jelly too. It should be. Anzu smiled joyfully as she enjoyed her lunch. Why don't you eat this? You're the one who pressed the button. Why should I be grateful?
けないし。
Indeed, I paid 700 yen for this, so I didn't want to waste it. I scooped the jelly and shoved it into my mouth. A slimy sensation filled my mouth. The ingredients were fighting with each other and they weren't blending at all.
どう？
Why, is it like if Akiko-san from Canon was the chef and just like, I'll have the special, just like, you don't mean the jam of death? Dun, dun, dun.
美味しい？
It's hard to say.
微妙ってどういうこ
It's hard to explain.
と？いいから。
I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not tasty at all. On the contrary, I can't even tell what the ingredients are. Oh, I see. Yukiko must have been the chef then. And then I get slapped.
うわ、なんか気になるな。
Well, it could have been worse. Could have been dog shit surprise. Do you want to try some? I held out the container to Akane.
何事も経験だから食べてみたら？そうだね。みなつも食べてみたいぞ。私もちょっと興味あるかななんて。
Go ahead and try, I don't care. They fearfully put their spoons into the gel-like substance. And they put the spoons into their mouths.
ママよ。
That was a long... The three girls closed their eyes as they chewed. Well?
微
Akane muttered while frowning.
妙。みなつの味覚をもってしても、どんな物質が含まれているのか、よくわからん。いや、食べられなくはないですけど、とびきり美味しいというわけでもないですね。私はまずいと思うな。
They each commented. I guess we all agreed that there wasn't really a particularly characteristic taste to it. However, Anzu didn't try it. Obviously making the smart decision. Don't you want to try it, Anzu?
そんな得体の知れないもの、食べられるわけないじゃない。
Hello? You were the one who pressed the button, though. Besides, I had to pay 700 yen for this.
いい経験になったでしょ。学園新聞によれば、栄養価は高く、バランスも理想的らしいわ。ぎゅっ。
Whoops. No, that's okay. Even if she recited them, I wouldn't be able to remember it. Besides, Anzu's memory was very accurate. If she said it was highly nutritious, that must be right. But with her personality, you never could tell, really, could you?
お肌にもいいらしいから、美容にも最適だって。あ、そう言われると美味しかった気も。
What are you saying? I can switch lunches if you want them.
いや、それは、ちょっと。
Creepy eyes. Oh boy.
後でどんな味だったか教えてね。
Anzu smiled. Hehehe. In the end, I made myself finish this mysterious substance. And then had a mysterious substance come out the other end later that day. I'm tired, it's cold outside but warm inside because of the heater. I think I still got a cold even now. What a bitch. I'm so sleepy. Isn't the script ready yet? I looked around the classroom. We were practicing for the puppet show, but some people started sword fighting with the stage materials. Some were chit-chatting. Some girls were putting on makeup, some guys were reading magazines. This isn't a rehearsal for the puppet show. No wonder.
これって、ここがこうなって。
Anzu, who was working on the script, was in a deadlock, as well as Koko, who was composing the music. In other words, Anzu the director was too busy writing, and Coco the actress, who should be a good example for others, was battling with the music. Who would write it seriously? I wasn't sure about the music, but didn't she have most of it done already? Well, even if she had it all roughed out, maybe it was different once she started to write. So I guess that's how it is, but I don't quite get it. Wataru was getting excited over a swimsuit catalog. Tsuganami was nowhere to be found. I bet he's somewhere plotting something. Akane was the only one working hard. She was crossing her hands as she bounced her voluptuous boobs. At times like this, the class president usually straightened things out. She didn't seem to care about what was going on, but simply sat there reading. Good grief, this wasn't anything unusual for our class, but couldn't we just unite and work on this one thing? Wataru held out his book to me. I saw a delicate young girl in a white camisole, standing there with her nipples erect. She's cute, but... I couldn't believe he was reading that type of thing openly in the classroom, but I wasn't going to say anything. He was already off in his own delusional world. Word? You mean world. I decided to walk around the classroom. Anzu was sitting expressionlessly with a blank sheet of writing paper in front of her. How's it going? Anzu? Huh? Is that right? Eh? Calm down, Anzu. Anzu's brain was lacking calories and it was going wild. It was hard to tell because her face was deadpanned. I could have popped out some Japanese sweets, but we were in class. I searched my uniform pocket. I think I put a sweet candy in my pocket instead of the throat drop I meant to. And here it is. I don't have a bucket-sized pudding, but I have some candy. I put the candy on the blank writing paper. It was a strawberry milk candy. Sure, if the class president says something, just tell her it's for your throat. Anzu muttered as her cheeks flushed. I just hoped that candy would help her make progress on her writing. The random thing that happened to me a while back, I think it's happened 2 times when I've been to the dentist and I hadn't eaten in the morning, and they just like, you have to have had something to eat before like they do all the, like, they had to put in a filling, and they just like asked to eat something, so you just like kind of do the opposite of what you expect. Then it's just like, okay, here's a little candy here, just eat that and then we'll go on to it. It's like, it seems a bit weird that we're giving you something that's bad for your teeth while, you know, being a dentist. It seems a bit kind of weird. Next was Coco. She was scratching her head and still battling with the sheet music. How's it going? You know, that's the worst thing about music, really, is writing it. I mean, I can play music. Like, I just, like, pick up my guitar and just play music. I'll just make shit up on the spot, just like... You know, I'm more of an improviser than a writer. Although I can write music, it's just such a pain in the ass to do it. Like, it's better to just improvise something. Like, whenever I've like uploaded any like video that just had me playing keyboard or anything like that. Those videos that I'd uploaded quite a while back for that story that I've been working on and all that. But as I keep saying, rarely add anything to. That was pretty much improv, really. Like, I'd come up with a melody and then I'd improvise around it. That's how I do it. Just like writing it all down seems like such a chore. So just like yeah, it works well, but if I were to play it again, I'd be like, oh shit, I can't remember the exact way it went. But anyways.
Yoshiyuki.
Just improvise, man. Piano improvising can be really nice. Just do that. You don't have to, like, compose it all, do you? You don't have to write it down. Well, she probably does, because you'd probably be like, well, we're not having it, like, recorded playing. We're actually going to have it live. I'll be playing the piano and all, so I've got to write it down. I don't know. She put her face on the desk and sniffled. You can do it. You've only got a little more to do, right? She looked at me with dewy eyes. Even if you look at me like that, I won't be able to come up with an idea. I'm with you on that one. It's easy to listen to music. It's quite simple to play music. Composing it, on the other hand, not so much. Don't you write the music you play with the Light Music Club? After saying that bit, Coco stood up. Hello? For what? Coco started putting down notes on the blank music paper. I didn't know quite what was going on, but she appeared to be on a roll. How do you do that? You just say, I'm gonna write music, I'm not gonna even have the piano there playing it, I'm just writing down the notes right away. Surely you'd have to, like, when I write music, I only can really do it with my guitar. Because I can't write sheet music, so I can't do anything with the piano. I just, like, tab it, and, like, I'd be like, this solo that I did, where just a bit of it's just like... Wait, no, I'm doing it wrong. I'd write it, like, 2, 3, or at least 1, between 1 and 4 notes at a time. I'd, like, play a bit like that, and just like, okay, add that in. Then I'd go further through it, add that in, further through it, add that in. If there's a specific chords that I want, pattern I want to play, just like, okay, try to get the pattern to sound how I want it to sound, which is the most pain in the ass part of it all, honestly. And just do it like that. It's so damn time consuming, and in the end, it sounds like quite different to how the original expectation for it was. So it ends up changing the whole thing where I'm just like, scratch my head, just like, how did I originally want those chords to be played? Ah, well, it sounds nice anyway. Good. After that, I stopped the students who were having sword fights and asked them to help with Akane. Wataru stood to help out as well. Okay, let's connect these and make a frame for the stage. Okay. What's with your voice? What's going on with the puppets? They aren't done yet, but they should be done by, the day after tomorrow. Okay, be sure to check with Anzu to make progress, okay? Okay.
Oh, すげえよ、ヨシユキ。
What?
ヨシユキが動けばみんなも動くってか?
What are you talking about? Why don't you go help the set crew?
了解。
Akane walked up to me with an exhausted smile. Don't mention it, we don't have time. She'll be okay. Anzu still sat expressionless with a candy in her cheek, but she was pondering something, I think. The universe, perhaps? Before long, the bell rang. The day was over. The class president stood at the podium and spoke.
この後は各自の個 って催し物の作業を進めてください。雪村さんは脚本できたの？まだ。月島さんは？もう少し。
The class president let out a huge fake sigh. This is the trouble, man. You put them under pressure and all that. It's just like their brain juices aren't gonna get flowing. You gotta have it so that it's not like too carefree and not too strict. That made Coco with Anzu didn't seem to be bothered by it, but I was certain she could feel the pressure. The class president said coldly and started getting ready to go home. When I looked, I saw Coco leaving the classroom with the music papers. Anzu stood up with her bag. Akane's reassuring words made Anzu relax a little bit. Seriously, how long have I had this damn cold now? Come on everyone, we can do it. Let's see, what should I do? Hallway, right? Yep. I remember this one. The library was very quiet. But it wasn't empty. There were mostly seniors there studying for the entrance exams for other schools, but there were also a few students simply... What? Readying? Don't you mean reading? Where is Anzu? I saw Anzu sitting amongst those students who were studying. She had her notebook open and she was writing something down. I bet she's working on the rest of the script for the puppet show. Because Anzu was great at memorization, writing something down was never part of her image, so it was an unusual sight to see. Yo! Anzu looked up. Can I sit next to you? Anzu nodded silently and went back to her notebook. How's it going? Sorry, so you making progress? I whispered quietly. Little by little, huh? Yeah, you're right. I got up and went to the bookshelf. Might as well have him shout in his mind for some reason there, I don't know. Is this good? I picked up... No, shove it. Screw that, that's just stupid. Up a hardcover novel and went back to the seat. I've been waiting to read this book for ages. I've kept meaning to for years. That wasn't a lie, someone recommended it to me and I was curious about this detective novel. Who cares? I started to read the book. I haven't even gotten to the incident yet. I sighed as I closed the book. That's just a dick move. Anzu smiled maliciously. I'll pick it up when I forget about it. Which shouldn't be too tough. What? Did I pick up on this last time we saw this scene? What she just said there is like saying that she envies him. And then he's just like, huh? He's like nothing. Clearly she does not really like her memory skills quite that much by the sound of it. And we'll be getting more into that, I imagine, as we get to her route, which is still quite a ways down the line, I suppose. By the way, how's it going? Didn't you have a plot? But if you say that, you can't write anything. What did you do in the acting club? Oh, you don't?
私セリフ覚えるの得意だし。
But you've worked with a lot of play scripts, right?
ええ。だから簡単に書けるかと思ってたんだけど。私、創作には向かないのかも。
Anzu muttered and let out a sigh. Don't say that, the first half is very interesting, I think. I give her my honest opinion. There's no way I could write a story no matter what. Well, I would say, like, there's no way I could either, because I'm just too damn lazy, but technically I have completed stories in the past. Short stories, but still stories nonetheless. Like that story that I did for my 2000th video on my other channel. That was a story I wrote. It's decent. And it was actually quite random backstory to how I came about writing that story. I wrote it in like one day, I think. That's what happens when I'm like, just like, okay, sit down, write the story, don't get distracted, and keep to it. And just like, okay, story, and there it was. Decent enough story. And it got like a B+ or something like that. And just like, a B+ in what? It was actually a story I wrote because my sister was actually too lazy to write a short story. So I just like, okay, this is more my alley, I'll write a story. And so she used that, and I think she might have changed the ending a bit. I'm not sure if she said something that she changed in the story when she wrote it. But it got a B+, so that's decent.
お話っていうのはね、書き始めることは誰にでもできるの。物語を終わらせることができなければ、何も書いてないのと一緒よ。
That's a bit extreme.
まあ、これも誰かの受け売りなんだけどね。
Anzu let out another sigh.
借り物の相手や借り物の言葉、すべてが借り物。
I didn't quite understand the suffering Anzu was going through. I can relate to Anzu, but in music, it's just like, what could you do? I mean, seriously, everything's been done more or less. It's just rediscovering things, really. Sure, you add new techniques and shit, but it's the same. Like if you play a chord pattern, it's like really just like so many chords have been used in the same way, but slightly different for years and years. You got songs that have similar sounds borrowed from others. Like, I mean, really, it's really difficult. Like anytime I come up with a good guitar riff, I'm just like, but is this simply overly influenced by one that I've already heard before? And then I'm like, huh. It's just like, I remember I was like improvising the other day. I was just playing something that sounded nice, but at the same time I was like, maybe this isn't a solo that I've heard before, but I couldn't think of it when like... Something like that. It was like, that has a really nice sound to it, but that's probably been used in a song before, maybe even more than once. Because that's how it goes. There's only so much you can really do with a guitar. I mean, after a while, it's like every note on the guitar, every fret, every string has been used. It's just like the way it's used. But even then, it's just my mind is just like... Yeah. Because she can memorize so well, she couldn't digest what she read on her own words. Is that what she meant? Even if she had a talent for writing, her knowledge interfered, and that's why she couldn't write. That must be true suffering. Indeed. I mean, like, look at music. If you knew more about music, like a shit ton, you'd be like, fuck, I know a lot of music, and I can't really think of any, like, fuck. It's like the less you know, the more chance you have of being original, because you're not really going to be thinking, oh, this sounds like that, because you haven't heard that before. So you just go in, if it does sound like something else, just like, well, who cares? I liked it, you know? You don't get depressed over something like this. The whole of human history is long, so everything is borrowed if you make a strong enough case, don't you think? I started to speak at a normal volume without noticing, and everyone looked at me. That's a fair point there, actually. I mean, with my interest in history, I've noticed some groundbreaking inventions, like the idea for them came way before the point where it was invented, but was simply forgotten in history. It's just quite extraordinary when you really think about it. I bowed and then lowered my voice again. It doesn't matter what someone did before, it's more important to look at what you really want to write, isn't it?
そうなんだけどね。
Anzu protested.
まあ、もうちょっと書き進めてみる。
Good luck.
ありがとう。
Anzu nodded, picked up a pen, and faced the notebook. I reopened the book and started to read.
ね
Anzu spoke suddenly.
え、このお話には男の子と女の子が出てくるんだけどさ。
Yeah, blind boy Eto and the girl center Charles, right?
ねえ、その二人の結末なんだけどね。
Yeah. Their ending, I assumed it would be something like and they lived happily ever after type ending.
今、結末をどうするかちょっと迷ってて。
What do you mean?
二人は結ばれるべきか、離れ離れになるべきか。
Separated? Of course they shouldn't be together. It's supposed to be a romantic fairy tale puppet show, right?
どうやって必ずしも結ばれてめでたしめでたしってわけじゃないでしょ。
Compared to how Disney does fairy tales compared to the original fairy tales, they weren't meant to have happy endings for the most part, were they? Man, when you hear about the original origins of some of the stories that Disney has taken and made into movies, it's just wow. It's just that's... I can see why they call it the Brothers Grimm, because it really is grim. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I was thinking based only on my preconceived notions, but some fairy tales did conclude with main characters being tragically separated. No, not some, most fairy tales. As soon as you go to the origins of the story, it's dark, and then Disney took it, it's oh, let's change a happy ending for all. It's okay, we'll do that. I mean, you got I can't really think of which ones, I can't really remember how it went. Can't remember any specific ones, but I think that most of Disney's movies that they made with the fairy tales and all that, if the further you go back in the history of said story, the darker it gets. I remember reading about Little Red Riding Hood, the origins of that, and it's dude, that's messed up. I was thinking about I already read that. Those were actually emotional stories too. When I looked at it that way, fairy tales were deep.
そもそも17世紀シャルル・ペローが童話集を出した頃は
You can skip the history lesson. I stopped Anzu in a hurry because she almost started giving me the complete history of fairy tales. No, let's hear it, let's hear it.
そう
I'm sure, please continue with the story.
うん
The fairy tales go a bit further back than that, though, wouldn't they? Hey, look, Anzu's actually got one of those, look on her face there, with the eyebrows. Anzu shrugged her shoulders disappointedly and resumed with the story.
二人が結ばれて終わるっていうのは悪くないと思うんだけどね。なんていうか、安直っていうか、ご都合主義的すぎないかなって。
Well, I suppose it depends on how you write the story, really. I mean, look at Key, for example. They have these emotional feel stories, but at the end of the stories, it does feel kind of just what? You went there? You just threw in that twist, it's just you brought yourself into a corner, didn't you? No, we didn't. We came up with this idea before the story so that we could establish this without actually establishing it, so that we'd put you on this absolute freaking just field trip just to Fieldsville, and then at the end you get to Happyville. Just right there. Just but it derailed halfway through. Yeah, I know, but magic, and it made it to Happyville. Okay, I'll accept that, because otherwise it would have been tragic. Yeah, I guess you're right.
二人は別れ別れになったけど、二人がお互いを思いやる気持ちは永遠でした方が綺麗にまとまりそうな気もするんだよね。
I see. After hearing her opinion, I thought the tragic ending didn't sound so bad. I actually preferred movies with reasons rather than a cheap happy ending. Like I said though, it's how you handle the ending. I mean, I don't like sad endings, but I don't like happy endings where it feels a little too forced as well. Although, given the choice between them, I prefer happy endings, honestly. I mean, when it's just like, they make tragic endings that are soul-crushingly just like, oh my heart, kind of endings. I mean, why would you want that? I mean, sure, it has a much more lasting effect, but Jesus Christ, can it make you really just like, oh man. Well, it's an ordinary ending, but I guess it depends on how it's played. Indeed.
ヨシユキはどっちがいいと思う？
Anzu shook her head and then restated the question.
ヨシユキが書くとしたらどうする？
Let's see, I would... Well, if it was a visual novel, I'd go with both, because you could totally do that. But... the walkthrough says... the opposite of how we chose it last time. They should be united. If I wrote it, I'd bring them together at the end. Yeah, they should be united.
やっぱりそう思う。
Yeah, I like endings where the two lovers get to be together.
でも、それだと安直だとか陳腐って言われないかな。
Well, honestly, both are kind of a bit overdone, really. You get endings where they're happy and endings where they're not happy. Both endings get done quite a lot anyway. It's like when people like see a sad ending, it's like, finally a sad ending for once. No, there are plenty of sad endings as well as there are happy endings. The happy endings just really stand out more. Surprisingly. Well, there'll be people who say things like that no matter how you end the story.
それもそうね。
Yeah, it's true. It's like, if you have it as a happy ending, it's like, how cliche! Why couldn't you go balls out and just tragic ending? Then they do tragic endings. Like, fuck you! How could you do that to those characters, you brat? Oh, I'm gonna send death threats to the writer of this story because I'm so surprised that it... Why did you do that to Charles? No! Also like that. It happens. You have a theme that you want to express by separating the two, then that's one thing, but that's not the case here, is it?
そうなのかな。
Can't please everyone. Well, I think they should be together, but I think it's best for you to write it however you want to write it. If you start thinking about what's already around, you won't be able to write anything. Anzu gazed into midair and then nodded.
そうね。私が書きたいように書いてみる。
Aha, I look forward to it.
ありがとう、ヨシユキ。
And then it just like has a completely different story altogether. It's like, what? Now suddenly Santa is a robot? Anzu smiled. Wouldn't put it past her, but I doubt it. Since Anzu started to concentrate on writing the script, I put my book away and left the library. Good luck, Anzu.